Welcome to Overtime the podcast. Overtime is a podcast dedicated to all things watches, particularly in the microbrand and affordable range. I'm Praka, and this is my co-host, Justin.
We are two watch enthusiasts based out of Perth, Western Australia. Join us as we discuss our thoughts on new releases, share our personal experiences, and offer our insights on building a collection.
Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey, Overtime will keep you entertained with informative insights and casual conversations.
Let's get started.
So Justin, how you going, mate?
Hey man, pretty good. We'll do our weather check nice and early this week. The heat is finally backed off.
Yeah.
I think it was 7 days above 36 or 7 in the end. For some reason, the suburb that I'm in is always like a couple of degrees hotter. I think it's something to do with being close to the scarp, but it was hot, then it was humid. Then we had a random storm the other night, which woke all the dogs and kids up in the neighborhood. And my son was not happy. But yeah, how's your week been?
Yeah, pretty hectic as well. As you know, the heat brought on the bushfires, and wasn't great. Wasn't great experience for myself or my family. It was. Thankfully, everyone was safe and homes were not affected or personally, but unfortunately, a lot of people lost their properties and stuff, which was not cool. And I guess that's just the reality of living in, I guess, close to a bush where we are. So, fires
in Australia are pretty wild. I got evacuated when that Warraloo fire came through all the way from Warraloo to Perth, and I've got a tow ball on my car, and they were just asking anyone with a tow ball to pick up a horse float on the way out, which was something I'd never done before. But yeah, I mean, looking back in time a little bit to, I think it was just after I finished high school, a little town called Shackleton on the way between York. I think it's actually Quairading and Bruce Rock. That was a town that had a wildfire spread on a very high wind day, very hot day. It's a farming community. And I do believe the town exists by name, but there is no one living there anymore because it literally destroyed all houses in the small siding. And it was just easier for the farmers to pick up and move on and, use the insurance payouts to go
somewhere else.
City, I guess. But it completely wiped out of town. So it's crazy.
It is real. Yeah, it wasn't. We definitely, not really expecting something that close. I think it stopped about 2 streets away from my parents and about probably 3 streets away, and then 2 streets away from my aunties and my extended family and friends. So it really hit home. But I am happy that we have come on the other side of it now, and thanks to all the brave fire, DFS and fire and emergency personnel. They did a cracking job, and
it was days of perfect weather for a bushfire. That's for sure. It couldn't get any better for a bushfire scenario.
That's it. So, but I guess all that, with all that chaos, we just of course we didn't get to record. But anyway, here we are. We've come to the other side of it now. So let's crack on. Before we get on with today's episode, what have you got on your wrist, mate?
Today I'm wearing the Boldr Voyager Antarctic. This has probably become one of my most worn watches in the collection. I've had it. I think it's coming up 2 months now. But I remember it was on school holidays last time I bought it, and now we're in week, I want to say 8 of school holidays or week 7. So it's coming up to 2 months worth of wear. And if I was to consolidate the collection even further, I think this one would definitely be sticking around. It's comfy. It's a very legible watch, but at the same time, a bit of color to catch the eye. And I think we'll talk about this one later on in the episbe. But what about you? Do I hit the drum roll here for your wrist check?
Well, I to be honest, I wasn't going to talk about it yet because I wasn't quite ready. Wasn't quite ready to introduce it to the
under the bus.
Episode, sort of just because I guess if I get to the topic of today's topic, really, before we were going to talk about we're going to talk about microbrands. I guess we're going to talk about some experience with microbrands. So I had already something prepared before this watch came along. So I'm not going to say what I wore all day. I'm going to keep that until next week.
We'll leave it on a cliffhanger.
But I am wearing right now the Seiko Scuba Quartz, which is a 91 vintage model. Yep, there
Very
we go.
cool.
Sometimes it's just nice to grab and go. Nice quartz piece. And this is fresh off a recent service. Unfortunately, and this is a word of warning to everyone out there, is that you get vintage watches, even if it's vintage dive watches with screw down crowns and all that jazz, probably pays to go and get seals replaced and a pressure test.
There for a reason.
Correct. So yes, the seals were very dry and basically, non-existent, and pretty much let moisture in, and the watch was still working. But the next day I had all this condensation within the dial, which freaked me out. But anyway, watchmaker thankfully sorted it out. So yeah.
No, very cool, very cool.
So I guess we might as well get straight into it. Let's what do we want to talk about today?
Microbrands, and specifically microbrands that we have some actual hands-on experience with in our own collections. So I might let you kick it off first.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about, or what brand did you want to kick off with?
Yeah, well, I thought I would kick off with probably my most worn microbrand, which is my Astor Banks.
Mm-hmm.
So Astor and Banks, I think I've probably spoke about this on the podcast from time to time. It's a microbrand based out of Chicago in the US. Look, I think his name is Andrew Perez. He makes some cracking watches, probably not many in the catalog in terms of the current models. I think he's got the Fortitude, which is what I've got, the Astor Banks Fortitude Light. It's a bit of a mouthful. And then he's got the Sea Ranger as well. But previously he's had other models, and I believe he's got plans for a GMT model soon as well.
Cool.
Yeah, look, it's to the Fortitude is a garter, to go anywhere, do anything kind of watch. It's 200-meter water resistant. It's the screw down crown. It's what do you call it? It comes with a beautiful bracelet, articulating flat link, 20 mil tapering down to 16, strap monster. It's a clean white dial with no date. You can put it on anything. I put it on leather, put it on rubber, put it on a NATO, have it on a bracelet, literally just rotated everything. I've taken it on a swim. I've worn it anywhere. I've worn it with a suit. I've worn it, t-shirt, jeans, you name it, whatever pair, it's basically one of my, I'd say it's like one of my best garters, and
for sure.
It's just so at least, I guess it's probably the first microbrand that I really had an experience with, and when I bought it, I said to myself, I don't think this is going to be the last.
Yep.
And really, I guess the reasoning behind that is it's just, again, the value for what you get, and the level of finishing and everything else. Look, it's not a cheap option by any means. I think it's about $650 off the top of my head. I got it secondhand, so I got it a bit cheaper, but it's I guess it's not the most cheapest microbrand out there. There's plenty of other microbrands that offer better value, but it's just it's just a cracking piece. And it really, I think it opened up my world to microbrands, and it's just hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. And I think it's in the microbrand community, even though we may not make physical tiers of where we think brands sit, they definitely, like that sort of stuff definitely does exist when you've owned a couple, or you've got a couple in the collection. And the Astor definitely feels like it's that, it just goes above what you'd expect from your normal micro, just doing the everyday kind of dive watch, or maybe not first or second attempt, third, fourth. Like they've really hit the nail on the head and come out with something in its own lane, and kind of standing on its own 2 feet in a very saturated market.
Yeah, for sure. And it just seems a bit more refined, I think, is probably the word for it in terms of a microbrand. And, using a Mio 9 series movement, which is, I think, is a great choice for a micro. It's easy to service. Most watchmakers can service it with, and parts readily available. High beat movement. It's just that step up from the NH movements as well.
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's a great, I don't want to use the word value for money, but it is good
100%. That's
money.
why we buy Micro, right?
Exactly.
Especially with the innovation and something different. But I also think with Asta, it doesn't have that cult following that a lot of micros do, but it's got a lot of it. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever read anything negative or even constructive criticism about Asta. It's always been quite positive. So
great
way to kick it off.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just before we move on to the next one, definitely there's definitely things that can be improved. Like, I'm not going to say it's the perfect watch because I don't think that thing exists. I think every watch can have some improvement of sorts.
Yeah.
I would probably go and say the clasp could be a little bit better. I think it would be better if it has some sort of, I guess, on the fly micro adjust. I feel like for the price, it could justify saying, hey, we could put one of those in there. But again, Asta Banks is one of those brands that, how do you say it? They're quite old now. They in terms of micro.
They're tenured, yep.
Exactly. They're quite tenured. So I feel like, this, and especially this model has actually been around for a little while as well. So maybe in their newer models, maybe they might get onto that. But yeah, definitely a bigger brand probably in the US than elsewhere, I would say, just because it is an US brand. But look, if listeners can get your hands on one of these, I definitely recommend.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess before we continue too, these are, the brands we're talking about, we own in our personal collections, and these are brands that we would actually recommend that you do your research and whatnot. But this is where I think we'd both recommend you kind of get your money's worth. You're not going to lose out too much. It's good microbrand experience. This is where, I guess, where you and I started, and where we're recommending some people may direct their journey to begin as well.
For sure.
Sweet. All right. Well, I wasn't gonna talk about Zilos, but I think I am, because I've been in this weird way with Zilos where I had quite a few in the collection at one point, and up until last year, I think last year I had 4 or 5 in the collection, dropped down to 1 as of early this year, and I think that 1 is gonna do me for quite a while in terms of Zilos, but. Recently, I've been, I don't know if it's more to do with some of the timekeepers group stuff, the whole, Zilos selling for stupid amounts on Marketplace and in forums. And I've never really sold a watch for anything more than it's worth before anyone comes at me. I did put it up for sale and have since taken it down. But yeah, it's just a weird space I've been in with the brand. But where I'm going with this is I think it is an excellent brand to actually start your microbrand journey if you are into the dive watch space, even now with the Swordfish Field out as well. It gives a cheaper alternative to I think the Aurora was the only other field inspired watch from Zilos. But yeah, I guess it's awesome value for money to be at a very entry level watch. And from my experience over the past, I think for 4 years, it's when I got my first Zilos, I got a hammerhead of some kind. Or it might have even been a Mako back then. My memory's so shot through the years of COVID. But it is very entry level. That's what I'm getting at. It's a great spot to start. You're not going to spend a ton of money. You're not going to lose a ton of money either, which is always good. But in terms of recent purchases and having experience with stuff like your Asta, and we got to have a play with Kish's Trusker. There's a lot more out there if you're willing to spend a little bit more. And what I've come to the conclusion with Zilos is that, in my experience, it is probably best for me. I went through it. I spent all the money. I lost money on Zilos too. I never sold one over retail. I always kind of gave a bargain. But yeah, I think if I had the chance to do my journey again, I probably wouldn't have sunk as much time and money into Zilos as I did. I probably would have steered elsewhere just for the looking back, there's so much more out there. It's very easy to get stuck into your lane, get really obsessed with something, which is definitely what I was at one point. I've had the mop dials, some great colors, some bronze, some titanium. They do offer a lot, and that's Elshan's business model. He's got something for everyone, and it really does grip you in, which is cool at the time. But looking back, I would have done it differently. But then again, I wouldn't be here now in the place I am, my journey without it. So
yeah. I mean, my first experience hands-on with the Zilos was your Zilos. I think it was the grey dial one, I think I saw, and then after that it was like a great white shark or something. What was it called? I don't know what
it was the Mako, Storm Grey.
That's right, Storm Grey. Yeah, I saw that, and then obviously your Swordfish in the purple as well, which is look, I think Zilos is one of those brands like you say, it offers a lot for many different people. Like it's a spec monster,
Yep.
It's giving you really bang for buck, and it also looks good. It does. The dials are fantastic.
Elshan does a great job. He really does. You can't take any credit away from him.
Yeah, sure. And his customer service, from what I hear,
Yep.
is second to none. Like there's people, in the forums who have an issue and they email him, and it's almost instant. Like he's sorting it out. He's on there, which is a stark contrast to some other microbrands. We won't get into that right now, but or just any brand in general. Like, you don't really, I guess he's changed the expectations for microbrand owners and also watch collectors, because he's basically said, hey, no, you know what, this is how I'm going to operate. I'm going to be available 24/7, or not 24/7, but I'm going to be available. I'm the face of the brand. I'm going to make sure people can, reach out, and if there's any issues, I'll sort it out. So I think from that perspective, it's a great brand to get into, because, and you can understand why, and I can understand why you got into it, because, you've got that community, you've got a brand owner who's so committed to it. And I think that's what forms a lot of interest in microbrands as well, right? It's like having that
100%.
Having that other people to share it with, that brand, and go, oh yeah, this is cool. This is something I've found out. But at the same time, I agree with a lot of your points, as in, it's something to get into, but if you get stuck into it, it can be, and I don't think you're not the only person I've spoken to recently that has had the same feeling with Zelos. I've spoken to a couple of other guys, and they've also had a massive Zelos collection, and they're just cutting it right down. I mean, they're still enjoying their Zelos, but they just don't feel like they need, I don't know, 7 models of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, a couple of last topics on Zelos as well. I think Zelos did play a large part in where the microbrand industry is now in terms of color, materials. Like, I think it'd be a pretty hard-pressed argument to say that the range of texture, color, and materials is being done by another brand at this kind of level. I know Zelos is a bit older and tenured now as well, but they've been doing some pretty cool stuff with bronze, even handsets and case design for quite some time now. And when I think of this sort of stuff, I think I've said this before, it's a 40 to, not even 40, it's a 33 to a 50 mil spot on your wrist. You think there's a ceiling to this sort of stuff, but Elshan does really push the boundaries on that and really plays with it. And even the Hammerhead's a great example of that. Huge, big chunky watch, but such a little dial, big thick handset. The Gen 2 handsets were beautiful. They come in meteorite, mop, full loom, you name it. I think he kind of does it. Stamped or hammered dials. He does really, really cool stuff. And I think that's the reason in the end why I've ended up keeping the Nebula, I think, which is going to be long term, is that it really does embody what I think the microbrand space is. It's a $299 USD dollars diver's watch, 200 meters water resistance, sapphire crystal, sapphire bezel. It's bright purple. It's got that Guilloche styled dial as well. Actually, I don't know if it's Guilloche. It kind of looks that way. It's probably another term for it.
Yeah, it's like a sunbursty sort of,
Yeah, but it's got some deep textured lines to it. A very cool handset. White on purple really works, and I think it really does embody the microbrand space. And looking back on my first Zelos, which was a teal Hammerhead Gen 2, I think, it brings me back to why Zelos was my entry into the microbrand space. So it brings me right back to there. And it's kind of a middle mark of, this is where I think Zelos really started changing their trajectory about this time last year. There's been a lot happen between this time last year and now. And I think it's definitely going to stay in the collection after quite a lot of sleepless nights and deliberation.
Yeah. No, it's, look, and I mean, I guess with the Asta, we started off, we said all the good things about it, and then we sort of touched on things we could improve or something like that. I've never owned a Zelos. I've never felt compelled to, because I guess I didn't start with that. I started off with a different brand, and that took me onto the microbrand sort of journey, and never really thought to go there. But there's little things, you pick up, you go, the maybe how the watch sits, or maybe how the just refinements, I think. And those are the kind of things that you're not really going to get in Zelos as opposed to other brands. But it's not a criticism per se. I think the value that you get in the watch for the price you pay for a Zelos is insane. It
is great. It is really great. But I think the crown that's put on the head of Zelos by the masses is what really lets you down.
Yes.
Not lets you down. I don't want to say that. It's what it gives you the reality check when you get it.
Correct.
But, in saying that, in saying that, I said to you recently when I was chatting about moving the swordfish on, I said, I've been wearing it recently and it's not felt as cool. It's felt like sharp edge and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think my wrists have definitely got skinnier. So I actually took 2 links out. Now it's 1.5 links out, something like that. And now it's sitting quite snug on the wrist, and it is feeling better. But yeah, like you said, it's $299 USD. It feels like it's not a $299 watch.
Yep.
But when you really dive into it and you kind of move on from the honeymoon period and wear it for an extended amount of time, I've worn it away for week trips out down to Albany for work. I've worn it on the boat. You kind of realize, it is a $299 watch, but it is made to feel like you're getting a lot more, and it does that. It does exactly that. So,
which is exactly what we all want, right? We want
exactly. I'm not doing any more Zelos bashing. I support what they do.
No, look, I think it's got its place, and I think we would be not authentic, I think, if we don't talk about Zelos. I feel like it really, especially when we talk about microbrands, I think we have to.
For sure.
But again, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think you got to experience it, or you got to at least look at it and try it and do it for yourself.
Hey, they've got exciting things to come too. Like Elsham puts out his schedule of release like in 3-month blocks on the Facebook page, so you actually know what to expect. You can see dials and cases and stuff. The Swordfish Fields just come out, which is another new venture for the brand. It came in a variety of different colors and dials, bronze, stainless steel, and I think it's still readily available, some of those models on the website. So I think it's probably going to be bringing in more people than we think in the near future than what it has in the past, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's great that he's making more quantities of the watch and realizes the popularity of it. I think it definitely can annoy some of the faithful that it's not as exclusive as what it used to be, like per let's say per model. But man, like I feel like that's a very artificial thing.
Where you watch and enjoy it. Don't worry about other people having the same watch. Jeez.
Exactly. And again, I think I've mentioned this before in the past as well. Look, a watch is not an investment. Don't look at it. I mean, great if you can make money out of it, and if that's what you want to do, sure, go for it. But it shouldn't be a primary goal. Well, I certainly don't think it should be. I think it should be worn, it should be enjoyed, and yet when you move it on, it's great to hold value and great to make some money if you can. But at the end of the day, enjoy the watch.
100%.
Cool.
Sweet. All right.
What's
next on the list?
Well, I have a couple here I've written down. So I think I'll go to the next one, which is probably my second most worn, probably close fighting to first most as well. So this one it's a microbrand, but also not a microbrand anymore.
It was when you bought it, hey?
It was. Probably
maybe not.
Maybe not. It's probably already spoke about this brand before multiple times. It is the Christopher Ward, specifically the C63 GMT. Look, these days, Christopher Ward's probably more of a independent brand more than microbrand, I would say. But, call it whatever. But fantastic watches. Again, another microbrand that's, probably it's not an entry-level microbrand. It's a little bit more sort of in the higher end of the affordable spectrum. But the value for money that you get is just fantastic, really.
And they deserve to be there. They've done the work. Like you look back in time, back when the old logo was on the dial, you could pick up secondhand Christopher Wards all day on Marketplace for dirt cheap prices. They've really done their time in that growth space, and they're up in that lane for a reason. And you see some gripes about price, but you see gripes about price with everything. You can't escape that no matter what brand you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, that they've, I think they've it's been nearly 20 years since Christopher Ward was founded.
Crazy.
So it's a long time for a microbrand. You know, it's not a microbrands. You know, a lot of microbrands that we've discussed and we've even people we spoke to, they haven't been around for very long.
I don't think we've spoken to anyone longer than 10 years. I don't think,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 20 years is huge, and you know the just talking specifically about my watch. Yes, it draws inspirations from other watches, and I feel like microbrands in general do that because that's what they want to do. And a lot of microbrand owners that we've spoken to personally as well, they say, yeah, I was inspired by this watch, and I was inspired by Genta, I was inspired by this because that this is what I grew up liking, or it's what, and that's what I want to replicate, and that's great. I think that's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah,
there's a tasteful way of doing it. And Christopher Ward, so it's the C63 GMT. It sort of, how do you say, it pays respect to the Explorer 2 and some other GMT models, and it's just fantastically finished. 39 mil. The light catcher case, so the Christopher Ward's light catcher case is just fantastic. The angles on it, the finish on it, you got your brushed and you polished, and just a mixture of that. And the bracelet is just outstanding.
Awesome.
Like for the price, it honestly, I don't really know what other brand can offer that. You got your on the fly adjust, quick release bracelet. Like, not many brands do quick release bracelets. I don't know any big brands that even do that. Like I'm talking high horology sort of Swiss.
No, I don't think there is
not
many.
High horology, but like luxury Swiss
up
brands.
there, yeah.
Who does that? Like, no one offers that kind of stuff. And all for, I think it's like 1,400 now, maybe 1,500 AED, maybe a little bit more now. But it's just incredible value for what you get. And again, it's just that another step up from
for sure
those other brands. So sorry, it's 1225 USD, so 1,700 AUD. So it's up there. But
and I think with this as well, going back to this 20 years of operating as a business, it's easy for places, for brands like Zillow and whatnot, to get out onto Facebook forums and promote Instagram, targeted ads, paid ads, blah blah blah. 2003, where is Christopher Ward advertising? Is it in the paper? Is it in magazines? Is it, that's what it was back then. I mean, I was 8 years old. I wasn't looking at watches back then, but it's just a completely different time. So, like, go back to, they deserve to be where they are. Like, they did a lot harder yards than I think brands have to do nowadays in terms of promotion and marketing.
No, and I think I touched on this probably last episode of the week before. I was in an Emirates flight coming back from Dubai, and on the plane, there was an ad for Christopher Ward on the live TV. Like, it was just like blew my mind. I was like looking at an independent brand or a micro brand, whatever you want to call it. So it's sort of like a trailblazer. I feel like, it's like, hey, we can do it. And I think that should really serve inspiration to a lot of other micro brands to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe if we can offer something unique enough, and or maybe not so unique enough, but we can grow to that if that's what we wanted to do. I guess not everyone wants to do that, but the possibility is there.
I wonder what that conversation was like, getting that marketing deal up and running and sorted.
Well, I think so. I did a bit more research on that. So it's Christopher Ward actually sponsor. They're one of the sponsors for Everton Football Club, which is an English Premier League club. And they were running an ad. So they were running an ad on a sports channel. I think it was called Sports 24. So it sort of made sense. But still blows my mind.
It's one of those weird things you wouldn't expect just to pop up on your headrest TV, would you? Especially being in the hobby too.
Definitely not. But look, I cannot recommend this brand enough. It's definitely one that any microbrand enthusiasts will enjoy. It is just and there's still plenty out there because they sell a lot of these watches. There are a lot of secondhand ones out there as well. So maybe if you don't want to jump into it and get something $2,000 because it's 2,000 Aussie dollars, because it is quite a lot of money. But you can get one second hand for cheaper, and it's probably worth enjoying it and trying it on. You can get the Tridents and sort of the older models for somewhere around 900 Aussie dollars, and I've seen, and which is I think reasonable, and definitely the quality that you get, the materials that they use is high quality, and for the price that you're paying for. Again, just can't go wrong, I would say.
Yeah, perfect. No, I think you've summed it up very well. Sweet.
What about you, mate? What's your second?
So I think my second's gonna be what? Sorry, was that?
No, that was your second. Correct. Yeah. Sorry. Go.
Yeah, I think my second's going to be Stratton. So we've spoken to Kyle here, and I think that's where the Stratton was always a brand that I looked at and never always kind of put something in the cart and never really committed to it. Mainly because the ones I was looking at the time was like the Synchro in the red, green, or purple variants, and it was just that. Going back to Zelos being the $299 USD mark, these chronos were $499, so you got that little bit more of a jump. I think I said to Kyle in the episode we spoke to him, I was a bit nervous about spending a little bit more on something I couldn't really hold in the flesh and check it out. But yeah, I bought I've had a complete blank on it now, the yacht racer.
Yeah.
Before we had a chat with him, that was the one I kind of dabbled in first and really watched YouTube reviews and thought, while the discount's there, the price I paid for it was dirt cheap. I couldn't really go wrong. But I think it is a probably the best attempt that I've held and played or had a hands-on experience with at just like a good, solid, everyday wearer. It's so comfortable. Things have been thought about all over that watch in terms of everyday wear, which is, again, like right back into the microbrand space. What we're looking for.
Yep. And, it's a chronograph. That's a quartz chronograph, right? Running a Seiko BK chronograph movement, which I think it's a fantastic movement to have in any affordable chronographs. It's just, you're not going to get an affordable chronograph that's mechanical unless it's a seagull movement. And look, and there's nothing wrong with them. I do personally have handled the seagull movement. I think they're great. There are some issues with DOA, dead on arrival ones, but I think because it's such an old movement, it's based off such an old movement that I think
it's outdated. Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes it just fails. But then again, look, there's instances of much more expensive watches arriving DOA. So I don't think it's it's just,
you wouldn't be as heartbroken with this one rocking up.
Exactly,
not working.
So you just get it exchanged. But coming back to the Stratton, it's the value for money,
huge.
Massive. And Stratton being such a rally inspired brand, it's got all the car racing DNA and everything else, and Kyle being such a big fan of all of that, if you have an affinity towards car racing, or some sort of, if you're a petrol head, this is perfect for you. And awesome. at a cut, hey, I can't afford to go buy a Porsche design watch, but you don't have to. You can get Strattons, which are cool 70s inspired races, for much less, and still enjoy it and get that feeling, yet in an affordable package. So yeah, I think great choice.
Yeah, and I think what I like, because I've got the classic driver in the magenta as well, is he doesn't shy away from quartz, which I think in the micro space you see quartz, but not as much as I think. Maybe not that I'd like to see, but not as much as I think we should see. I think it's that everyday wearer. That's quartz, right? Just put it on, go. No resetting the date, no twisting the crown. Just put it on and go. And that's probably the thing I like most about both of the Strattons that I own. You just chuck them on. But that the classic driver I've got too, it's such a good legible chronograph. It's again $299 USD, and I think it's actually in not similar vein as in chrono versus diver, but in terms of value for money, the classic driver, even though it's quartz, really does punch well above the Zelos $299 there, in my opinion. And it's a lot plainer. Is that a word? It's a lot more simpler dial, but it's the maybe that plays into the whole experience of owning it as well. That it's completely different, but you have to make those comparisons in the micro space.
Yeah,
but Kyle is sick too. He's such a nice guy. You can tell he's really got, like you said, love for the cars, love for the brand. He doesn't shy away from going into why things cost certain amounts and why price increases happen and whatnot, which is really cool to see transparency from a brand owner.
Yeah, for sure. And having someone like Kyle explain his process, and as he's done in our previous episode with him, it gives, I think, potential buyers, microbrand buyers, perspective of the process and how you got to where you got to, and really shows the passion that the owner has towards their brand. It's not just a money-making scheme. It's still, whatever you want to call it. It's not just I'm just going to find something to do something, which is fine if that's what you aim, if that's okay. But you can really see the passion come through. And I think, us being enthusiasts, watch enthusiasts, we care about that. Like we want, I mean, me personally, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I think we really do, a watch is not just a functional thing for us, because otherwise we will not be having our watch collection or this podcast. It's more than that.
100%.
It signifies way more than that. So having someone like that, as an owner, and something that you can actually see and you can back, I think it's definitely embodies it. And I think, and to be fair to many micro brands, it's similar for sure.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I want to mention about Stratton is they do offer options to do a VK Mecha Quartz, or you can go for an automatic variant of the same watch, which is an awesome thing to have if you are struggling with the taking the plunge on a higher price or anything. So if you like me, like I've definitely played with the idea of moving into one of the other Strattons or even the Signums now at a higher price point, because I've handled the classic driver and the yacht racer, which are sub $300 watches. Like I'm very confident in the brand. I'm very confident in the quality. Yeah, I love the product, and I definitely do see myself owning, possibly one of the square Strattons down the line. Maybe not anytime soon, but I think it's definitely a brand you can confidently put your money behind. And actually, we even know someone recently had he bought a Stratton as well and got sent the wrong one, and I think Kyle was very good to deal with in sending that back and rectifying that problem. So it's cool that he's on top of control. And getting onto stuff when he needs to.
That's right, and mistakes happen. It doesn't matter what brand it is or what tier it is. Mistakes happen. Just stuff like this happens all the time. I've seen bracelet with screws coming undone with watches worth thousands and thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars. Stuff like this happens. It just because something, it costs this much or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean things like this happen. So yeah, for sure. It was fantastic that Carl, handled the situation, did that well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to if and when you pick up one of those square pieces to check him out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one day. Maybe when I have to buy it when a new car rocks up. Because right now I'm racing around the hills in my little RAV4 at work, thinking I've got my racer driver on. Yeah, but no, definitely like I said, I really have confidence in the brand, and my delve into the brand is very different to how I delve into Zelos back in the day. I've done a lot more research. I've really watched the YouTubes, really kind of deliberated on that watch. And the classic driver was one that I really toyed with over time as well. And it was just when that magenta colorway came out, it was just no brainer for my collection.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome. All right. Before I get into, I guess, the last brand that I wanted to talk about today, I just wanted to touch a point when you just talked about, doing your research and YouTube and stuff like that. I think one thing that I would like to say about that is, for most parts, I think it definitely helps. But what I do feel like happens is, if there's something wrong or something that's critical about the watch, it always seems to be amplified.
Oh, you've got to take everything on there with a pinch of salt, don't you?
Exactly. And
you really have to.
Yeah. And I feel like one YouTuber picks it up and then the other one does, and the other one does. Yep. And then next minute, the entire watch enthusiast group, that's all they can focus on.
It's the Seiko QC thing, right?
Exactly.
Someone buys a new Seiko, the first thing they do is go onto a forum and say, "Oh, the bezel alignment's not there. I'm going to have an aneurysm about this."
For sure. And and anecdotal, but I've not had a single Seiko that I've bought
neither
with an alignment issue. So Seiko probably sells, I think after Rolex, they sell the most amount of watches or I'm not even sure. I could be wrong. It could be the most amount of watches in the world or something, there's bound to happen, there's always numbers to these things, percentage and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm not excusing them. I still think it shouldn't happen, especially with the money and especially with the QC that all these micro brands are doing. Shouldn't happen. However, yeah, just take it with a grain of salt, people.
Yeah, definitely. And when I was saying, I go on YouTube, I'm looking more for wrist shots. I'm looking for,
sure.
when they're doing wrist rolls, you're looking at, the crystal, you look at the bracelet, that's what I'm looking for. In terms of opinions, if I'm going to commit to buying one, I'll make that opinion myself once it gets here. I'm not really, I definitely used to consider it way more than I should have. And that probably is the reason I took so long to actually purchasing my first Zelos as well, was just maybe it wasn't even the critical sense. It was just the over positivity about Zelos back in the day really kind of made me go, is this paid marketing? And everyone was getting a free one to keep when they reviewed one on YouTube. I was like, I don't know. So it can go both ways there, but you're 100% right. Just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, and again, it's we touched upon before we started the episode, a potential NWA that we're not going to talk about this week because I'm not quite ready.
Stop teasing the people.
Sorry. So was it the same thing? I've seen a recent video on it and there's a lot of criticisms in there, which at face value, when you watch the videos, you're like, oh that's inexcusable. But then when I've actually handled the watch myself, I'm like, that's actually not an issue at all. Like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at it and going, I don't really have an issue with this. In fact, I think this is a non-issue and this is just played, overplayed. And so anyway, sorry for the
it goes to the Seiko thing too, though. Everyone's whinge about the Seiko bezel alignment or whatever it was, the chapter ring alignment, but you never seen a post come back being like, oh, I'm going to send my Seiko off to Seiko and get it repaired. Everyone just, as much as it bugs you that it's not aligned as well, it's like, you can still tell the time. It's out by a millimeter. If you got eyes like me, my eyes are slowly going worse and worse. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Like I've recently got glasses and tried contacts. So but it's just, you got problems with everything, Every company in the world that produces a product has had some sort of teething issue or quality control issue to a certain extent, whether it be major or minor. It's just part of life, not just part of the watch hobby and collecting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we both in our respective industries deal with all sorts of stuff like that, so I can definitely help to that. But yes, when you're putting your hard-earned money, you do want something which is good. So yeah,
for sure.
All right. Well, I think we gave the listeners a bit of a flavor of micro brands and that we've experienced personally, that we own personally, and hopefully that's helped the listeners to if they were sitting on the border of fence of what should we get into, we've given them a bit of a flavor. We'll do more of these soon. We'll have plenty more stuff like this. We have had experiences with more micro brands, so we'll definitely drop that. We thought we would second part of this episode, we thought we'll do something a bit fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, so look, both we recently was listening to a couple of songs and don't really notice it as much until you do it, but a lot of songs, especially the songs that I like to listen to, and yourself as well, Justin, probably, they seem to drop a lot of references to watches.
100%, yeah.
And there's actually a lot more than what you would think. And we thought, hey, let's just do something fun. Let's bring a couple of songs that we like that has drop some references to songs. And look, this may not be everyone's cup of tea. I'm just saying that, but let's just do it. Let's have fun
for sure.
All right.
I might kick off the first one. So my first song is a bit of a classic. So I like. Well, back in the day, I was getting quite into the drill drill rap and grime in the UK. I was really into that. And there was a club in Perth that played only that for a Friday or Thursday night, which I used to love going to for our kids, obviously. Stormzy, I think, if you don't know Stormzy, you should. Stormzy's one of my all-time favorites. He's a rapper out of the UK. He's big in the grime scene. He's had a heap of beef with a lot of the other kind of older grime rappers. He's pretty controversial, but he has a song called The Wiley Flow. I don't know if you're familiar.
No, I listened to Stormzy, but not as much as probably you have.
Yeah, so Stormzy's he refers to himself as as a skeng man, is what they call them, which is that they wear the Adidas trackies, they're wearing Nike TNs, they're all blacked out, but then he's just the big flex is the rollie on the wrist. That's the line. That's every song. Yeah, he references the Pepsi, the Hulk in this song, and then he also has a line where he says he's sporting a milli like Pharrell, which is also kind of cool, bringing another older rapper into it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. The film clip is awesome too. They're all kind of in their bandana over the face. They've got beanies on because they're in the UK. I think he's actually like standing there sipping a cup of tea as well. So he's doing like gun fingers. He's got his like Tetley tea bag hanging out of this like mug. It's very, very English.
That's hilarious.
We'll put links to these songs as well in the show notes.
For sure. All right. Well, Stormzy, coming out big.
If you're looking for a hype song on a Monday morning, just trust me and chuck it on.
Okay. All right. So I'll go from there to a not so hype song, and not really someone that I don't think many people would have heard. As a song called Ocean Prime by this guy called The Alchemist, featuring Boldr James. It's like 3 lines, and it's just full of watch references. So it's basically goes, Oyster Perpetch, flood the yacht with baguettes, Submariner, what a sea dweller, this is not a Patek. Like, it's how many references? So you got
throw my gun fingers up.
That's it. Oyster Perpetual, you're flooding the yacht, so that's the yacht master with baguette diamonds, this factory, whatever, Submariner, the Rolex Sea Dweller, and this is not a Patek. Like, it's pretty much the entire Rolex catalog plus Patek.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, man, we need to get some rap with some micro stuff. Hey, not so much rolly stuff, micro stuff.
Yeah, I think so. It's a very popular thing to bring up rollies and stuff like that in pop culture. But yeah, where's the micros at? I want to see.
Yeah. Sweet. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
Beauty. All right, the next song I chose was by another rapper out of I think he's out of Chicago or New York. Can't remember off the top of my head, but he's Polo G. I don't know if you're familiar with Polo G.
I am not. But
he's a bit of a younger rapper. I think he might be like early 20s. He's in the world of like Juice WRLD and little TJ and all these kind of guys. He's got a couple of good songs. He's pretty. He's pretty raw. Like, if you're gonna have a listen to his music, be prepared for quite a lot to take in. In this song, Pop Out, it was a TikTok song. I think there was a line in there that went to TikTok and became a bit viral. But he sings a line that says, "I've got diamonds in the rollie. They are HD like it's Blu-ray. The way I'm balling, they should put me on the cover of 2K." And every time that comes on, I get so pumped up at the 2K reference, because that was like my childhood. Yeah. But again, another rollie reference.
Nice one. Well, I'll go from that rollie reference to another rollie reference, and this is Nas. Classic, right? Nas.
Yep.
Classic rapper from New York as well. So the song's called Nas is Like, and basically like one of the most classic lines in sort of that kind of era of rap. And so came a long way from blasting techs on the blocks, went from Seiko to Rolex, owning acres.
So good.
Like, as much as I am the biggest Seiko fanboy and, not the biggest fan of the Rolex, come on, that's such a...
When that song comes on, it's F Seiko when that song comes on.
Yeah, exactly. When that song comes on, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty...
You can't help it.
That's pretty gangster. That's a nice little come up sort of feeling. So, yeah.
It is cool to hear Seiko. It is sick to hear it dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he said Seiko, but not for the right reason, but it's okay.
Yeah. Sweet. The next one I chose was it's an Eminem song featuring Royce da 5'9", and it was off of an album that came out, I think it was in 2018, and that was in the kind of time in Eminem's later career now that where he made some music that was a bit questionable in terms of where he was heading, and not a lot of people liked it. A lot of people did like it, and there's a minority that didn't in terms of how much each side of the fence was. But in this song, it's called Not Alike, and this was a huge beef song. I don't know how much you know about the scene. Eminem came back with an album, and basically just every song was a shots fired at a different rapper from the new generation. And you know, I think everyone knows what Eminem's like to an extent. Does not hold back. But Royce da 5'9" does a line that says, "I don't wear Jordans or Audemars. Audemars. I do explosions and Molotovs." And it's the opposite thing. It's not a flex. He's just like, I don't do that stuff. I'm about, I'm banging. And it's such a good song. And the cool thing is I actually met Royce da 5'9" at the Eminem concert.
Wow. Because
we did the sound, not the sound setup, sorry, the like the topology and Wi-Fi setup for Optus Stadium, and did a lot of the connection, and we got to run into him in the back of Optus.
That's it.
Which was awesome. And I didn't really know what to expect with him because I'd seen him in film clips, but he was huge.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I love that line every time it comes on. I'm just like, oh, it's so good to hear Watches not being the money flex.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. There you go. You've actually met the guy as well. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, the next song, it's actually 2 songs from the same album, and it's by Jay-Z. So Jay-Z is a huge watch collector, right? I think there's almost a lot of his songs have watch references.
He might even be one of the biggest celebrity collectors because I think so. He's been sponsored by a lot of people as well. He's always covered in YouTube. Can I take a guess?
Yeah. What song?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got like 2. So you
got 2?
Take one of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Is one of them Ape?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. All right, there's a watch reference there as well.
Yeah. Okay. No. So there's the first one is Gotta Have It. He goes, Bueller had a Mueller, but I switched it for a Millie because I'm richer. And that's talking about Ferris Bueller. I'm not really sure. You know, that sort of movie.
I hope it's Ferris Bueller.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I don't know if it was Ferris Bueller, but anyway, Bueller. I don't know who Bueller is, but Mueller and Sons, I believe that's the brand. Frank Mueller, sorry. Yep. That's it. Sorry, enough. Yeah, Frank Mueller, of course. That's it. So what am I thinking? Mueller? So Frank Mueller, which is awesome, you know, really sort of luxury brand as well. But he's just saying, you know, I had it, but I switched it for a Millie. You know, I leveled up, went up to RM. I don't think RMs are great. In fact, I think they look very gaudy. I don't really see it as a flex, but hey, it's a flex because, you know, that's what rappers do,
because
right?
That is, they got the money.
Got the money, and that's I guess, you know, even if they don't believe in it, but that's the lifestyle they're trying to sell, and that's their product, so it makes sense. So yeah, that's that one. The other one is the same album, Watch the Throne album, Jay-Z and Kanye West, probably the biggest song of the album, In Paris, and, you know, got a broken clock, Rollies.
So good.
Rollies that don't tick-tock, Audemars that losing time, hidden behind all these big rocks. I mean, that's, you know, he's saying that his Rollie is broken because it doesn't tick-tock. Like, he's saying, yeah, you know, it, because that's like, okay, well, you know, it's not quartz, it's Rollie. And he's got Audemars that's losing time. But, you know, which automatic watches do, but it doesn't matter because it's hidden by all these diamonds all over it, big rocks. Like
that song came out when I was in high school, man, and it was the biggest song of like the time. Hey,
that's
so good.
I was in uni, and it was huge. It was massive. I think it was my 21st year, so that was the song.
Perfect.
My 21st, and it was just massive.
There's so many good lines in it too.
Oh yeah, love that track. But yeah, anyway, two songs from the same album. Also both from Jay-Z, and yeah, just massive. So
it's got the Talladega Nights reference in there too, doesn't it?
No one knows what it means.
Yeah.
But it's provocative.
You can't beat it. That played in clubs even, you know, when I turned 18 and whatnot, and every time it played, it was just screamed as loud as you could.
Yeah.
So good.
All
right.
What do you got?
I might finish with a couple here. So a couple of quick ones. So I went for another grime rapper called Dave, and Dave played over in Sydney. I've never seen him live. He's a bit before or after my time of going to concerts and whatnot. And I don't think I would really fit in a crowd of kids going to see Dave these days, but I was still blasted in the car. So he's got a song featuring Stormzy, where he's got a line that says, Rolexes got more than one. My AP cost 31 millimeters, 41. And the rest of the bar is like a huge flex, but it's such a cool play on the numbers, the price. You know, he's got Rolex AP all in the little space.
Is that Sprinter?
No, it's not Sprinter.
No, it's not Sprinter. Okay.
I can't remember the song now. It might be Verdansk. It could be. But
yeah.
He also has a second line in the same song that says, they stop and stare because the watch is rare, clear. But it's the word is clear, but because he's a pom, he says it funny. It rhymes with rare, Claire, and then it says stainless one, and then goes into the rest of it. But in the video clips, you know, they kind of flex the wrists as they come past.
Okay. All right. Is it Clash?
Clash, that's it. Clash. Yep, that's the one. There is a watch reference in Verdansk as well, but I can't remember what it is. But I guess the last one I wanted to say was, this is my favorite song of all time. This was my hype song my last year before my son was born. So I went out and partied, you know, up until the year my son was born, or maybe the year before. But this song came out in 2017. Now it's Offset featuring Metro Booming, and it's Ric Flair Drip.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, this was like if we were going out to the pub to a footy wind up or anything, this was the song in the car. And he's got a line that says, going to the jeweler, bust the AP, but he says it with so much force that it just gets me so hyped up every time I hear it. But I love that song. I watched wrestling when I was a kid. Ric Flair's he was the man.
Yep.
But he that song's favorite song of all time.
There you go. It all comes together in that song. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, I think I had one more song, which is also another Jay-Z song, but I think you know, it's again just about platinum, Rolex. You know, but it's like, where is all that ice with all the platinum under that? Those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the F did you do with that?
Flex the factory plug.
Exactly. So this is something, it's funny because a lot of rappers get flack from watch YouTubers because they ice out their watch. They add in diamonds aftermarket diamonds, and essentially by drilling holes in the cases, which is a bit strange. Anyway, you do all that, it definitely loses all the value. And, you know, in fact, I think it reverse, like, you know, some of it, like, you know, it doesn't mean if you put in $20,000 worth of diamonds on it, doesn't necessarily mean
you're not getting that back.
Getting that back, because it doesn't work that way. And Jay-Z, being the watch collector that he is and a rapper, it's just gone, what is that? You know, it's not factory, it's not real kind of thing. But look, whatever you think about that, it's, you know, it's not about that. But I just thought it was a cool line, and I thought it was an interesting line for a rapper to talk about. It wasn't about the fact that he's got iced out stuff. It's the fact that he's like, I don't need iced out stuff. I'll just keep it factory. And that's cool.
There is a lot of rappers and celebrities out there that are huge into the actual collecting scene, that have some beautiful collections. And you know, I don't know if you might know, but there's the producer Michael on YouTube. Have you seen his channel?
I think I know who that is, but I don't think I've actually watched any.
So he's multi-million, if not close to a billionaire, and I think he has a lot to do with he's a music producer, movie producer. I think he runs or has something to do with the ownership of Miss Universe. So he's not short for cash, and he does like luxury house tours and stuff on YouTube. I didn't like him to begin with because he was all to do with the iced out. He always had, you know, non-factory, but just ridiculous collection, like hundreds and hundreds of watches. But he's had a bit of a turnaround in recent times because of another YouTuber hanging a bit on him for it, and he's really refined the collection back and sold some stuff on. And he's even he's got a website now that he's kind of plugging not so much microbrands that you and I would be interested in. It's more kind of fashion watch stuff, but he's you know, he's in doing different things. But he's actually got his cameraman Adam Swords is his YouTube channel. He's an adventure YouTuber who also is into watches, but he's this pommy dude who's come over to the UK. He used to film motocross videos and BMX and skate videos when he first moved over, then got somehow in contact with producer Michael and became his cameraman. So he's like in these videos where they're doing tours of Bucharest and all these places with his like Seiko mod watches on and his G-Shocks on, and it's a really cool contrast, those two different people on the same channel. But Adam takes out his affordable watches and smashes them on jet skis and camping tours and diving. And he does so much with his watches. It's really cool. Right. I think he was a brand ambassador for Panzera, which I've also owned one in the past.
Cool. There you go. Panzera is Australian, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice one. Okay, cool. No, I had no idea. Panzera. I mean, I've seen a couple of Panzeras on the forum every now and then. It's pretty cool. 2009. They've been around since. That's a long time.
Do some interesting stuff. They're starting to spend a bit more money now, I think, in some Swiss movements and whatnot. I had the Panzera Aquamarine 45, and I bought it because this dude Adam was using it on his channel, and he was free diving, in coral or kelp fields, and I don't think he was spearfishing or anything, but I think he was having a look at hands-on with fish and swimming around reefs and jet skis, motorbikes, skateboarding. He was doing all that with it, and I was like, this for 235 AUD that I got it for at the time.
Yeah, nice.
You couldn't really beat it. It was blue. It came on this bright yellow strap, pilot inspired. But he was diving with it. That was kind of what I was into at the time. This is years ago now. It's a long time ago. I think maybe just after I started my Instagram.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Okay, cool. Well, I think that was the last of the songs. So that was pretty fun, actually.
It was fun. Yeah, we should do that more. Hey, I like that.
Bit random, bit out of place, but we normally talk about. But hey, it was a bit of fun.
Listen to the songs too, and
and
flick me a message because I don't know your opinions there. I love chatting music. I love music from I've got the most bipolar playlists on the planet. It goes from real gangster rap to some real Australian heavy metal. So hit me up to chat.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's do it. Okay. Well, I think because we did that segment today, unless I don't really have anything, that I have seen or heard this week that I wanted to plug, we may skip that for this week and wrap it up there. So if there's nothing else, we'll catch everyone next week.
Take care, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us on Overtime the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can find us on our Instagrams at Overtime the podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, and at Horology Capture.
We appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please hit us up. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time.